Hi, everyone, and welcome to Football Friday Night, our webcast as we get ready for the regional semifinal round of the high school football playoffs. This is Rob Niedzwiecki. He's the sports writer here at the Winchester Star, and I'm Bobby Ford. Thanks for joining us today as we preview two regional semifinal games, Rob. We have Sherando and Millbrook in a rematch of a game that they just played 2 weeks ago. And Clarke County will be hosting Luray on Friday night. Both of those games will start at 7 o'clock. Now, Rob, let's start off by talking about the Sherando at Millbrook game. Second time in 3 weeks that those two teams will be playing over at Millbrook. Sherando came away with the big victory 2 weeks ago, winning 35-22 to end Millbrook's undefeated season. What do we see for the regional semifinal?
I think a big key to this game is going to be how Millbrook performs on offense. Sherando's probably going to get its points. These are two high-scoring teams, but Sherando shut out Millbrook for 3 quarters in that game. But it's not as if Millbrook didn't have its opportunities. They had 4 drives inside Sherando territory within those first 3 quarters in 8 seconds, and they didn't get any points in any of those drives. They had 2 punts, an interception return for a touchdown, and a sack on the last play of the first half when they were down at the 6-yard line of Sherando, where they could have gotten more points there. And a big key is just trying to get their athletes in space a little bit better. Miles Bruce, defensive lineman, who he was just talking about how he's a defensive lineman for Millbrook, but he was just talking about how Sherando really did a good job getting on the edge and really disrupting the passing game for Millbrook. Savon Smith only had 4 carries for 4 yards. He had an excellent receiving game, but they want to get the running backs going a little bit more. They had 16 carries for 40 yards as running backs, and in order to loosen up the passing, attack and just get the passing attack going, they need to have a little bit more success outside of Isaac Brown just improvising. So that'll be key, and also just turnovers. Sherando's forced 30 this year. They had 3 last week in a win over Dominion. Gave up only 221 yards in that game, and they're averaging 220 yards allowed per game. So, a Millbrook team that only gained under 41 yards in the first 3 quarters against the Sherando the last time now is going to have to find a way to generate more offense to have a chance to win the rematch.
Sherando won its first round game 27-10 over Dominion at home. Millbrook had the week off between the regular season finale and this week. I guess you could look at it as a week to rest up a little bit, but also probably a week to stew over that loss from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Millbrook's obviously they don't like the fact they lost their undefeated season, and they're definitely going to look to get revenge. I mean, they're trying to keep emotion as low to the ground as possible, not get too caught up in that, and just because they just need to execute better. I mean, they really were disappointed with how they executed in that last game, and having the bye week gave them a chance to go over some of their the basics of their offense. Just fine tune things. Go through repetition and make sure they do some of the things that hurt them against Sherando better, basically.
The winner of that game will play in the Region 4C Championship the following week against either Kettle Run or Liberty. Now, Clarke County will be at home this week as well, coming off a first-round shellacking of Strasburg. Clarke County will host Luray at 7 o'clock in the Region 2B semifinal. And Clarke County really seems as if it's gotten itself in a pretty good spot right now.
Oh, definitely. I mean, as the number 1 seed, they like playing at home. They showed that last week with 549 yards of offense and a 63-20 win over Strasburg. That running attack is really going well. Peyton Rutherford leads the way at 2,092 yards and 30 touchdowns. So they definitely have a lot of confidence going into this game against Luray. And it should be an interesting matchup. Luray is 10-1. These two teams last played 4 years ago in the playoffs. Clarke County won that game 42-7. So Luray is a straight T team, kind of variation of the wing T. So it's going to be 2 kind of misdirection offenses going at it against each other.
Now, if Clarke County does win, it could set up a rematch with Central the following week, the only team that Clarke County lost to this year. Any chance they're looking ahead to that?
I don't think they can really. I mean, it's certainly seen to play a role in the regular season. Looking ahead to Central, but I think Luray's too good. They got some excellent players like quarterback Dylan Jenkins, who's rushed for 1,200 yards and 15 touchdowns. They got another running back Tristan Burrell. Well, quarterback Dylan Jenkins, running back Tristan Yowles rushed for 1,180 yards and 13 touchdowns. So they've got an excellent team. They've only most of their games they've held teams to 2 touchdowns or less. So Clarke County has its work cut out for it. They definitely can't afford to look ahead.
All right, so the Clarke County Eagles will host Luray on Friday night, and Sherando will travel to face Millbrook on Friday night. We'll have coverage of both of those games Saturday morning in the Winchester Star and also on winchesterstar.com. But make sure you're following us Friday night as well on WinStar Sports 1 for live tweeting of both of those games. For Rob Niedzwiecki, I'm Bobby Ford. Thanks for joining us.